Hey Cookie Monster crew, it's your girl Kashawn, Cookie Dough. Oh my goodness, hiccups. Excuse me, oh my goodness, I keep getting hiccups. It's your girl Kashawn, Cookie Dough Cooksy Sins. Welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like up and subscribe, excuse me, so you can always catch these vibes and turn on that post notification so that way you get notified every single time there's a pickety post. Yeah. I heard that when you have hiccups, you're growing. So I'm growing in so much shape or form, but I definitely want to drink some water, so hold on. Okay, so let's get into this episode. This one may be a little hard for y'all, but let's go ahead and get into these clues. So this person is from Sydney, Australia. He is a singer. He was on the show X Factor. He was in a male group before he went solo, and he now has a son. Let's see if you guys guess. Okay, so it is your boy William Singe. So I first met William, I know him as Liam, but I first met William Singe back in like 2017 at the gym that I was training at. I told you I was like more of like an exclusive gym. Let me fix my hair, child. What's going on? Is it cute now? Okay, I think it's cute now. And I remember I was like taking my workout equipment from over by the treadmill over to right in front of the mirror. It was like a bench press machine, and as I was like walking back and forth, he was just staring at me, like on his phone, just staring at me. And I was just like, now anyone who knows me, you know, let me fix this, hold on. Is that better? Okay. Anyone who knows me knows I really don't like being stared at. And granted, I get it. But like just staring and not saying anything is weird. It's just fucking weird to me. So he was just staring at me like on his phone, and I literally said that. I was just like, I walked up to him, I was like, are you just gonna keep staring at me or are you gonna introduce yourself? I was like, hi, I'm Cookie. And then like he introduced himself, we had like a moment and Barrington, this and that, blah, 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 going about my workout. I'm like recording and doing all that kind of stuff. And then later on, I was just like, okay, well, he's kind of short. What's up? And then like the gym, everyone who went to that gym, like the gym page followed. So I went to the gym page followers and like found him and like DM'd him, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then we just like started like having conversation, and then we started like talking daily via DM, and he learned my workout schedule and would come to the gym at the same time I was, so we could see each other. So then I'd start seeing him every day, 5 days a week, and then we were talking afterwards. And then I started noticing that after a certain time he wouldn't message me. So I was just like, do you have a girlfriend or something? And he was like, no, like after a certain time, like I go to a studio and this and that, blah blah blah. And I was just like, oh, okay. And then, we start hanging out, at the gym. And I remember I had gone to a fit expo, and I was helping out some of the girls from Lisi Fit, like actually do their booth at the fit expo. And afterwards, we had all gone out to eat. Did I miss some makeup? No, I didn't. We had all gone out to eat, and then like while we were out to eat, I was like DMing him and stuff. And then he was like, they were at a club or whatever, like they were gonna go to a club. So then he asked if I wanted to meet up with them. So I was like, okay. So I drove back, and like as I was picking up my outfit, I like cleaned up my room or whatever, and then I like met him at the club. So at this particular club, it's Le Jardin in LA. There's two sides. There's like a front side and a back side. So I didn't know exactly which club, because it's like you can go to either one. I didn't know exactly which club it was. So I parked and I walked over on the back side, and I like talking to security. Security's like, I haven't come out to meet you and this and that, blah blah blah. So I was saying that, and he was like, I can't walk out, blah blah blah. So I'm like talking to security, and security felt bad that I was just like standing outside. So he just like lets me in, and I walk in. He's explaining where he's at. I'm like, oh dude, you're on the other side. So then I went over to the other side, and I'm talking to security there, And security like asked my ID. I give my ID and just like walk in. Like I'm not saying it wasn't as much. When I walk in, he's just sitting. He's just like kind of like standing there right at the front with him, his homeboy, and the guy that was training him. That was the other time at the gym. And then there's like a guy and like 2 girls. So I'm thinking, you're just standing here. You could have easily walked out and like walked back in, even though it's close to nighttime. But I know like with LA clubs, it's different for dudes. And I wasn't trying to be bougie. I'm just like, you know, because like he had like over 1 million and stuff followers on Instagram. I'm thinking, okay, if you are who you are, this blah blah blah. Why don't you have a table? Why did I have to talk to security and like talk them into letting me in here? And why don't you have a table? So I was just like, whatever. So I walk in as I say hi. He's just standing there talking to like this guy and like these 2 girls. So I'm like sitting there looking at him like, why did I come here and waste my time? And then like his friends trying to distract me and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And his friend was like, yeah, you won. And I was like, won what? He was like, you know, well, whatever it is you came here for.
Huh.
And I remember I was like, what is he talking about? So that's why I'm just like, this is just weird. And then William was like, what do you want to do? You want something to drink? And I was like, okay, yeah. So then we go over to the bar. They said the bar is closed, so it's close to closing time, whatever. So then as we get ready to walk out and leave, we're all just kind of like standing there. And I remember I told him my Uber because I really didn't want to be that girl that was like, as a woman driving back. But I actually really did drive there. I drove there and parked my car, and there I had some leftover food from the restaurant, and I knew like, okay, if I'm going home and partying and this and blah blah blah, I'm not gonna enjoy this food. So I gave it to a homeless person. I was like, hey, would you mind like watching my car, like while I go like party? Because it was like hectic. And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, awesome, thank you so much for that. And as a thank you, here you go. And they like vibed out and like enjoyed the food. So like definitely appreciate that person. Thank you. So yeah, so then like we like staying there. So then he goes to his friends like, oh, okay, like what are y'all about to do? And they're all looking at him like, huh? He said, oh, I'm going home with her. And I'm thinking, okay. But I had the intuition to clean my room before I went for that exact reason. So then he calls an Uber or whatever. They Uber to his apartment, which I didn't know at the time. They were just like Uber to leave. So then he comes to my my place. This husband took a room at the house, and I remember like in the Uber, he's sitting there. He's slouched down like real low, and I'm kind of like sitting up like this. And then he like leans his head like this over on me, so his head's like here. And I remember I just like go like this, like around him, and just like holding him. And I was like, I didn't think about it at the time, but later on, like, why am I holding him? Why was he holding me? But like, whatever. Then like we get back to my place and like, and some things pop off. Nothing like too crazy, okay? We didn't do the 1-2-1-2, but yeah. And then he leaves, and I was just like, you know. Then he tells me that his friends Ubered back to his home, and he has the key to get in, so they're waiting to get in. So like, you know, he had to go back to let him in. I was just like, what the heck? And then after that, we kind of just like started dating. It's like, you know, again, he would come to the gym every single time that I was working out, and then I would go and train, and then I'd be done training like around like 3 or 4 p.m. and then I would go home, shower, get ready. He would drive over, pick me up, we'd go back to his place. I'd spend the night, then I'd wake up, get ready, like he'd drive me back to my place. I'd get ready to go to the gym, like shower, get ready to go to the gym, and then I'd see him again in the gym. So we continued that life cycle for like a minute, and I saw, like I said, I spent a lot of time with him. And then I remember during this time, one of the times he had a music video that he was doing called Please, and you know, he's telling me, like, he's texting me like, why is there a casting and this and that, blah blah blah. I had made a joke like, oh, like I'll be the leading girl in like in your video, I cast. And he's like, no, like almost like what you got going on is only for my eyes. I would tell everyone in the room to leave, so it's just you and me, like type of vibe, right? And then he was telling me how there was a girl there, and like her name was kind of like a cookie vibe. And he's like, you know, what is with LA girls and these names or whatever? And I didn't think anything of it. So after the day of his music video, I'm like, okay, well, if he's going to his music video, he's not going to be here at the same time that we always go. So I was going to get up and go super duper early. And I remember I got up and like went at 6 a.m. And usually he goes at like, we would go at like 9 or 10 because he was on my schedule. So I don't know how he knew that I was going to be there super duper early, like at that time. So because I got there super duper early, I'm there. Next thing I know, he comes in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And like a part of me was like, huh? But you know, it's the man I was dating, so I was thinking, I was like, okay, that's sweet. He got up early because he wanted to make sure he saw me, blah, blah, blah. So I see him, and then like, you know, he goes into this video shoot, so like we're talking this and that, and we were gonna hang out afterwards. He would come over to my place, and then I remember after a certain time, I didn't hear anything, so I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna close my eyes for a second. I have my phone on loud. He'll text me or call me when he's on the way, and I woke up, and it was like after midnight, and nothing. I heard nothing. And I was like, that's so strange and so weird. And then the next day, he's like, I'm sorry, like I was tired up to center blocks and this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, whatever. We, you know, like proceed to date, and then I forget exactly what happened. We just like, oh, I remember exactly. There was a girl from back home in Australia who he was dating, and when she found out he was dating me, it caused issues. So there was this law called the de facto law in Australia, where it's like if you're dating somebody, as they come into their money, then you have rights to half of it. So she started coming after him like in that way when she found out he was dating me, and it just like it made him feel some type of way. He started being weird and started acting some type of way because like he, you know, like once upon a time like loved her or whatever. And then he started being really weird, and I was just like, this is too much for me, because I don't know how. I dealt with this with the guy before, where they're feeling some type of way in regards to their ex, and I'm just like, I don't know about this. So we're going back and forth, and I'm talking about it, and I was like, you know what, I want a break. So I asked for a break. And then I remember I had gone with my homegirls. She was hosting. Sweet was hosting. And then afterwards, I remember there were these guys, like we were out there, like bought me and my homegirls flowers. Like they asked me if I wanted to go eat, and I was like, no, like, you know, I considered it. But my homegirls like, you know, we're going here to eat, whatever. So he's like, okay, well, can I at least, there was a lady walking, he's like, can I at least buy you and your friends like a rose? And I was just like, okay. So he bought me a rose, bought one of my homegirls a rose, and then he asked to buy Esther a rose, and she was like, no. And then took my rose and took a photo with it. And I'm like, girl, he could have bought you one, but whatever. So after that, like, I mean, while I'm there, you know, I'm having a good time. I know I like to shake this thing. So I was shaking my booty, and it made him feel some type of way when he like opened up Instagram and saw me shaking my booty. He's not American, so I don't know. And I remember like afterwards I called him like 15 times because I was like, you know what, maybe I actually do want to like work this out and this and that, blah blah blah. So then I had gone to his place and there's security at the front. So I was like calling him, and I asked security like, hey, like, can you ring him so that way he can come get me? And security's like, you call him. He's like, I'm calling, he's not answering. So I'm asking, can you at the front desk call him? Because he's not answering my call. So then me and security are like arguing back and forth. And you know, that's that. So the next day, I was like, you know what, he always would go on his hiking trail. So I was like, okay, me and my dog would get up and we're gonna go like on this hiking trail, like maybe bump into him. Sounds a little crazy. Like maybe bump into him and like we can like talk. Cause like even though I asked for a break, I'm like, do I really want a break or this and that? Maybe we could talk to this. I don't know. So he hits me with the we need to talk, and I was just like, look, I've already had enough bad news. I don't know. But it was more of just like the night before I could tell I worked really hard. Okay, so it's just a lot. So then after that, you know, we eventually do talk, and he was just like, I don't know about this. I don't know if this is going to work out. And I was just like, so then we officially end things. And that was that. Then we had a moment of like, he had reached out to me and was like, hey, like I'm going to be at the gym, like meet me up here type of thing. So I get ready and go. And then like we were like, this is like some months later. And because I was already going to go, but I was like, okay, well this is perfect timing. So then we go, like we work out, and I kind of do like our usual vibe, and like we like, you know, like have like a moment when we ended up like kissing in the gym, and I was just like And then like afterwards, like we go out to eat, and I remember he was like going to something. He showed me his phone, and after he showed me his phone, like I handed it back, and he was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "I meant to text my mom because he like showed me something in his text. So I could have just easily went through his text threads. I didn't, but I really could have." And then like after that moment, I'm like, okay, maybe we are like gonna get back on track. So the next day, or like 2 days later, it was like about 2 or 3 days later, because that was Saturday. That Monday, I had gone on Instagram. For whatever reason, I had checked his tagged photos, and a girl had tagged him with the dog and was like mom and dad. And I was like, huh? And I remember like that same day we were texting, and I was like, I wonder if he's gonna tell me about it. I wonder if he thought I was gonna question about it. I didn't question about it, but I was like, I wonder if he's gonna tell me about it. And obviously he never said a thing. And then him and that girl went on to date for like a year and a half. And I was like, what the fuck? I literally just saw you. And you were just in my phone the same day that she posted this. Crazier part is the video please that he posted, that he recorded when me and him like were like dating the first time, got released like over a year later. And in that video, there's a girl that, I take that back, this is before I knew that they were dating. So me and him had reconnected again before they actually started dating, right? And I remember, oh no, I take that back, it was afterwards. And I remember I'm watching this video, and I'm like, he's kissing the girl when he kissed me. But I was like, this, like, some time is gonna by, I'm not gonna press it, but like that is very weird. And I remember this is during the time he had called me, and he was back home in Australia, because like him and that girl like broke up. He had moved to Long Beach, and like me and him were talking, and like, he wanted to like take me out and like, you know, like do the whole wine and dining thing, like hopefully like talk for us to get back on track and go back to Australia to visit. And while he's there, I remember one day he calls me like crying, like wanting to commit the S word, right? And I was like, no, like you're worth it, like God loves you, this and that, blah blah blah. Because like he called me, and I missed the call, and I called him back. Well, I wasn't thinking about it. It was like an international call, so I'm, you know, like doing the Lord's work pretty much, and like talked him out of it and let him know that he was loved and that somebody cared for him. Yeah, that one call cost me $600. I never asked him for the money though. I just, when my bill came, I just took care of it. So altogether my bill was like $1,000 that month, my phone bill. And I never asked him for it. Still to this day, I never asked him for it, because I was like, I don't want you to feel bad when you were literally reaching out, because like you needed it to feel like you were worthy, you know? So then everything was cool, and then I randomly, my intuition speaks to me again as he's supposed to fly back to LA, and I'm thinking I'm so excited because, you know, he had been there for like, I want to say like a few months maybe, and like, you know, I'm really excited, like we're going to see each other, this and that. And then I just randomly get this, like I said, my intuition just goes off, and I remember this girl telling me the story about this guy that, she was dating, his family's there, he's backstage, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I remember she wanted me to pull up to that show because she told me that this guy wanted to meet me. So, go back to the very beginning, when me and him started dating, he told me that he had a crush on me before he met me. So, him figuring out my schedule, even though it was cute, was also a little stalkerish. So, he, so I get this random intuition about her. So I text her, and I was like, remember that story you told me a while ago about that guy and like backstage and like his family and this and that, blah blah blah? Was that guy Australian? And then she was like, yeah. I was like, was it Will Singe? And she was like, yeah, how do you know him? And she's like, you met him at the gym? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, that's so crazy. So then like she calls me, and she proceeds to tell me how he's been like, why he's been back home. You know, they've been subbing each other on Twitter, and like, and he was like reaching out for them to be like cutty buddies and this and that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's crazy, because him and I sub each other on Twitter. And like, he's been in my phone, because like, what? So when she tells me that, like, literally like on his flight back home, she was working on his finishing music, and he was supposed to go over there for them to do 1 2 1 2, and I was just like, oh, okay. So I reached out to him and I was like, really, a girl you know that I know, and like, and we're supposed to be, I go off, and then he reaches out to her, man, and she said something to me, and I just go off. So then, you know, we end things, whatever. I don't talk to him for a while. I go and do my thing. And then during quarantine, he starts liking my stuff a lot and follows me. And I remember he followed me. I was sitting across from my dad at my parents' house. And I was like, why did my ex just follow me? And my dad's looking like, huh? And I'm like, never mind, you won't understand. So I show him a picture of him, this and blah, 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 whatever. Things are good, like we're talking now, like this time, like we're like, you know, he's still in the country, but like shit's like serious. Like we're talking about marriage and we're talking about kids and just like all this shit, right? And then it's just like he just switched. Like everything was like good. He was gonna come to LA. He got his visa approved. He was gonna come visit. It was during the holidays. He was gonna come meet my family. Then like randomly, just one day, he just switched and just was just like, I don't know. And he never came to the country. I caught him cheating. Yeah, it was just fucking bonkers. I don't believe he actually really ever got his visa. I don't believe so. Because even like after that, you know, I would like do a little like investigation. He would just come to like record and do a music video here and there. But he never like actually came back to visit. And he has a lot of friends and stuff here, especially people doing this. So I don't think he ever actually got his visa. And I don't think he knew how to tell me that like he was never really gonna come back to LA like that. But then the weirdest part is I was gonna go visit. I don't know, man, it's just weird, and I don't understand why I gave him so many chances, right? Now here's the weirdest part. We broke up at the end of 2020, and then, you know, all that weird shit in Miami happened in 2021. And I remember afterwards, I had a conversation with him, and he sends me a video, because we send each other videos a lot. He sends me a video and it's just like, if I look like I just got fucked, it's because I did. And I was just like, that was one thing he said, and I was like, huh, what is this nigga talking about? And then there's a girl that I followed who posted up in the exact same car, like the inside and interior of the car was in the exact same car in Miami. And I was just thinking, I was just in Miami. How were, one, I thought you were in Australia. How are you in Miami at the same time I was in Miami and you didn't say shit? At least you didn't take when you just got fucked. And I'm just like, what is going on? And then the weirdest part is, like, I remember when my stomach started showing, I sent him a photo. And I mean, instantly, he responded back. And almost, there wasn't enough time between the time I sent him something for him to type up what he did. It was like the message he sent was already like pre-typed. It was actually very weird and very, very bizarre. And I was just like, you know what? I don't trust you. I don't trust my family. And I don't trust my best friend at the time. All y'all niggas is weird. All y'all niggas is weird to me. Like, all y'all are so fucking weird to me. But yeah, so I was just like, I don't know. But here's the weirdest part. And I've said this before in something else, where it's just like, I can tell him his muse. Like, he writes and he's told me this, he writes so many songs about me. He writes, like he a lot of his music videos and stuff, and it's like, it's very clear and very obvious I'm his muse. And this is what I was talking about. I was like, okay, I knew he had a crush on me before I met him. So it's just like, now I'm not amused or impressed by that stuff. I'm a little like, I'm like definitely turned off, and I'm like a little creeped out, because it's giving, why are you so obsessed with me? Boy, I wanna know.
And I was like, why are you so obsessed with me?
Like, you know, like it's very much that. And it's like, you know, it's clear that you're upset with me when everybody knows, finally found a girl that you couldn't impress. Like, that's what it's giving. Because his Instagram and like in his accolade stuff that he's done, this and that, he has definitely he has an ego. He has like a little bit of like an arrogance about him, and he's definitely like emotionally and mentally abusive. Because it's just like, if you explain like, hey, I you know, as a partner, I want you to do this more, do that more. Next thing you know, it's just, oh, what was me? And next thing you know, you guys are fucking arguing because he's just so goddamn emotional. Like, just like has not got his emotional intelligence together at all. And it's just like, and to think that like that's who I wanted my husband to be, and I wanted to start a family with, that thought alone is scary now to me, because I'm just like, long term I would have been very sad. I don't think I would have been very happy long term. Especially in a different country. But yeah, so I know that was like a little long-winded, and I've kind of told you guys the story before, but we had to redo it on the time I met the correct and proper way. But I really hope y'all enjoyed this, and also really quickly, it's the strangest thing ever. I remember one time, it was like the first time I was at his house, and it was me, him, and his homeboy who he does music with, and we're playing music. So he's trying to figure out like my music style, and he was like, "Oh, look, who do you want to listen to?" And he was like, give me like the remote to like play the music on TV, and I was like, "Oh, Tory Lanez," because like I was really vibing with Tory Lanez music at the time, and he was like, "We don't listen to him in this house," and I was like, when you ask who I want to listen, and that's what I want to listen. But okay, so I was just like, I literally was like, okay, and just handed him the remote back, like, you put the music thing, because I don't know what the fuck, but I'm not involved in that, like, but that concludes this one. There was some tea spilled. There's some other tea that I didn't spill, because it's just like, you know, and still to this day, like I said, he has a kid, and he has a girl, like a girlfriend who lives with him, the mother of his child. And he still be doing like stuff to try to get my attention. It's like, I'm creeped out. Like, your obsession with me at this point is weird. Because you had the opportunity to wipe this, and you didn't know what to do. You didn't know how to handle it. You weren't man enough. So please, let your girlfriend be your muse. Because, like, I think you're weird now. I'm repulsed. Okay, and like a few more things. So I remember when everything happened in 2021, he was the first and only person I told before things got hectic. And I remember he was like, what can I do all the way from Australia? Because I was like, if something happens to me, call 911. And I honestly should never talk to him after that, because that response, if I'm literally coming to you in like desperate need, and that's your response, that's disgusting. Okay? Now to go back to when him and I were dating, the first time, I remember this particular time I was on my cycle, and I remember I was like in lingerie and like sitting on top and whatever, right? And like we like making out, stuff like that. He like made a comment like about stuff like when it was done. But I remember like we were like kissing and like the lights were low, and I remember like coming back, and like literally there was just like a really dark energy around that man. And I was like, maybe I'm tripping, because this was like the beginning of like, I guess like truly like understanding like my connection with the Lord and like different ways that he like speaks to me. So I was like, okay, and like honestly chose to ignore it and proceeded to continue to date that man. And that was on me, because the Lord did try to warn me ahead of time, but I just didn't know that that's what that was. And even though the Lord is literally putting back, he's restoring everything the enemy tried to steal from me. So things are like getting back on track in my life now. But I remember like before dating him, like things as far as like my finances, I was making like an average of a good 4K a month up to like 6K a month. Friendships were good, just like everything. And after dealing with him and dating him, just slowly different things in my life started getting attacked. My finances, my friendships, just everything. And I'm not saying it's on him in specifically, but I do think that that is a key thing to note. That considering I saw a dark energy around him, and then all of this stuff going on, and all of this stuff happening, and it's just, I don't really know how to make sense of that outside of the fact that like I do not want to speak to that man ever again. I do know that much. One last thing, I may have said this, but I may not have. He definitely, outside of like being an industry player, was just like an opportunist, because I truly feel like the only reason he like took the other girl seriously, the one he did the music video with, is because of her connections to the music industry and stuff like that. And at the time, SZA was following that girl. So it's just like, you know, again, if you have somebody who's all about you and all they do, no offense to her, I'm not throwing no shade, I don't want no issues, girl, no issues, is posting him, because that's the kind of, that's what he wanted, was that's how you let him know that you cared. It was just posting about him all the time, you know what I mean? It's like, and then these people are, you know, and I want to say they were signed to the same record label at that point. So definitely just opportunist. And I feel like, because I'm like, as far as like women that he dated, craziest thing, there was this one girl who I had like followed, her name was Tana, and she used to date Jake Paul, and like I had like followed her at this point because like some of the captions she posted were really funny, and like, in regards to her ex specifically, and after I had dated him, I don't know, I was on her page and I like saw something like, did he used to talk to her? And, like, I just couldn't tell. It was not really like 100% like official. And then like it got weird because then Jake Paul started boxing and then he started boxing. I'm like, shit, did he? I really don't know. But I will say this, no pun intended with the will. You know, when him and I were dating, I obviously like I was posting him in there, and I definitely think that he wanted to use my influence and like the people that I could reach to his benefit. Which is why I never really like posted men that I dated, and why I'm so secretive about men. Like not even just because of his situation, just in general, because I dealt with that back in college, of like people wanting to date me because of like what I could do for them in that way as far as social media. So I date low key because I always try to make sure that a person is really about me. I don't want to like, not that I don't want to give somebody clout, but like I don't want to feel used. You know what I mean? And like thinking back on the situation, I feel that way a little bit. I do. So remember one time we had gone out to eat, and he asked me out on a date, and like we were going to eat and like go to the movies at City Walk, and he asked me on a date. So then like, you know, I ordered food. Last minute he decides he's not going to order food, and then when it comes time for the bill, he took care of it, but then he like made a comment about like next time, like almost like I better have it, and it was just like, nigga, I be cooking for you. I know you're not complaining about a motherfucking salad. Paying for a salad? I know you're not complaining about paying for a salad. Meanwhile, you're driving a Maserati. No, I'm not saying that you can't drive a fancy car and things be tight, but like, don't ask me on a date then. Let's just be like, let's just, you know, I don't know. We could have figured something else out, but like, I never complained when I was cooking for you and I was the one buying the food and the ingredients to cook for you. Meanwhile, you taking all the damn noodles and leaving me just a chicken. Yeah, long term, no. And I remember like the first time like he had said something, I was like, when we were talking about that situation with the ex, like he was doing some trifling stuff, and I like, we were talking about it over the phone, and I was like talking real, you know, like how black woman does when she's irritated. He was like, I just like, oh, I forgot I'm the first black girl. Yeah, you gonna have to go get you a group of who gonna let you do what you need to do, who ain't gonna press you about it, who ain't gonna get bucked when you act out. Because I didn't even like go off. I was a cuss, and I was just like, yeah, you know, I really just don't understand like that type of energy. He was just like, it's just, I know you're not sitting here acting offended or afraid or scared, because I'm trying to hold you accountable for you doing trifling stuff. As any woman should, regardless of her race. But nigga, I am black, and I am motherfucking cute. When I tell y'all, it felt so good to get that off my chest. I should have started with this damn time I met story time, but that's that. That is the last time we're talking about that man. Ugh. I love it. Anyway, that's that. Cookie Monster Crew, what do we do? We ride it on, we ride it on. Yeah, that is this episode of The Time I Met, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Oop, nice. Every time I try to leave, something keep pulling me back. This damn plant. I really feel like because he was already in the industry, and I met him and he popped up in my life after the Little Yachty commercial, and after I was already, like I said, all his accolades with me doing women's health and too many this and that, blah blah blah. That nigga was a goddamn industry plant. He already knew I was a boss ass bitch, and they came there and tried to like one up me with the shit that he was doing when he really realized I'm the goddamn prize.